We've got a really long format video of putting in a willow arch. This is a much smaller archway, it's be a much quicker video. This is the sort of thing that'll fit in most people's backyards, you know, it's a nice size system. These were put in as rods, I think 3 years ago. Most places you can just put them straight in and weave them together, especially for low structures. But for here, if you know it's so windy in winter, if we'd put rods in, you know, at the sort of length that we needed to weave them, they get dripped straight out of the ground in the winter winds. Not an option. So we planted them at sort of chest height, and we've let them do their thing. But they're long enough now for tying in together. So I'm going to grab both of these. I want the ends of them really. So where's the longest strand? And then basically, so I've got 2 armfuls of it. I'm going to cross them. And then I'm going to wind one around the other. And then I'm going to take a single strand, because there's several strands in my hand. And I'm going to weave that around and between. Hang on, because they're at my, at complete opposites to each other. They're just jarring into each other a bit. But then I'm going to prise 2 of these apart, tuck that in between them. And that'll lock it in place, especially this earlier in the year. Yeah, that's plenty. Cool. So now I'll come down and I'll do the same thing with all the other loose ends. I just wind them around the cable that I've made, and then I tuck it between the strands, and that's taking quite a bit of force, so that's good. I'm trying not to eat too much. Let's have a look. So that's another one. That's got a snap in it. Yeah, that's quite a snap. I'm not going to bother trying to get that to recover, but I do have this huge wand here. So I'm going to wrap that around, and already, because this section's where the join is, this is now going right around the section that I've just joined and tying it together even more tightly into this end. And when I get this bundle here tied up tighter against it, and that's it. And then this end is just enough of it to tuck through a gap, and because it's quite a big gap, I'm going to do a couple of wraps. There we go. So I'm going to take the next one along. Am I pleased with that height? Yeah, that's low enough that I can come through with snips and I can trim it out fairly easily. So some of this other stuff I'll weave in afterwards, but that's just tidying up at the end. First step will be next to tuck the next one in. So same thing, down as far as I want it. Cross it, I think, there. There's a lot of side branching on these, so they'll lock in really nicely, but it does make wrapping them around each other a little bit more challenging. But all of these side shoots that we leave loose will grow vertically, and it'll just lock the whole thing in really tightly. So
tie the whole thing together.
Yeah, exactly. Now on this one, there's only one really big strand. There's other ones here, but I'll tie them in afterwards. So this one, I'm basically just gonna wrap it around, because this is, quite thin stuff from this side, around a big, solid stick on that end, a wand on that end. So we're gonna just do a tie around it. There we go. And that's the same height. That's very neat. Pleased with that. So now I'm going to use this one here and use that to lock this one in. This would be so much easier with a low step ladder. But I didn't think to bring one, and rather than go back for one, snapped it. That's a shame. No matter. But
That could be replanted somewhere.
it could. It's not a reasonable chance of taking, but at this time of year, it's about a 50-60% chance of taking maybe if I put it into moist soil. Whereas that same one, if I was doing this in winter, would, 90-95% success rate. So all these loose ends I'm going to tuck in yet, but I'll do that all at the end. So on to the next one. And this isn't huge, and there's only 4 of these to tie in together. So I think we'll go for there, I think. Maybe a bit more there. Now this time I've got, I've still only got one really good one, but I got another one up here. So by the time I've got this one tied in, I need to be careful to not break this one because it's a main. Hang on, where have I lost that? There it is. If I don't want to overwork it and bend it too far and snap it, that'll be really bad. There we go. But no, I got away with that. That's excellent. And then I've got enough left here to tie that off. Hang on, let's have a look around. This one, I think. I'll tuck that under. Yeah, pleased with that. So these are only tucking in, but I'm pleased with the main structure of it. So, last one, and this is the biggest one. Yeah, that is significant. Oh yeah. There we go. And then this one is a pretty big cable too. So I'm going to take it off to my right first because I get the sense that that's probably the easier of the two. But this is going to take some arm strength to do. There we go, I got away with that. Pull that down here. And then I'll pull out, hang on, no, that's a better one. And I'll tuck that through. This is only late September, so all of this will set in place yet. If you do this in winter, then the wood has finished growing for the year. There we go. Nice. The wood's finished growing for the year and it won't, set in place. So if you get a major storm, it can pop them apart. I've had it happen on this very one before. I've actually done a video tying this one in. But it took 3 days at 70 miles an hour. But I tied it in a bit prematurely, really. I was just, whoops, there you go, the sunglasses. I was just really, yeah, I was very pleased. And then major storm and the string went. Yep, hang on, I got a breakage there. And that's a major one as well. But that was very brittle because it wasn't even bent a great deal. So we'll get rid of that. That's okay. It is all tied in pretty well. I've also got, for example, this huge strand here that I've just broken. Anyway, you get the idea, it's not going anywhere anyway. So all I'm going to do now is come through and just tidy up the inside by weaving in the loose ends, maybe clipping a few. And yeah, we'll come back and film after that's finished. So that's it, all tucked in, all well. Most of the loose stuff's been tucked in. Some of the bigger stuff around the back I've left. I'm not worrying about it. The whole thing is going to go vertical anyway. There's enough tied in to hold it all together. Next year, some of the sideways growth, I'll train sideways just to fuse all 4 of these together. And that's it, it's done. From this point it just becomes prettier. So this is the entranceway on the end of a basketry willow fence. So that's something we take, we can get a huge amount of basketry willow from. We're going to be doing a lot more of that, but at the end of it we got this thing, because it's always nice having an archway. Over time this will fuse together. All of these will fuse together like this has here, so that it'll effectively become a single tree and a single organism. Is that sap? Yeah. And it'll just all fuse together and it'll become really, really solid. Yeah, you can see it's going to look really pretty. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I ended up giving up. I did go and get a log to stand on just because I was breaking so much. I figured, that'll make it easier. I've clipped a little bit of the loose stuff on the inside, just to, pretty it up a little bit. But that's pretty much it, really. It's just let it go for it at this point. Didn't take long at all, maybe half an hour, maybe 20 minutes a few years ago to weave them, just stick them into the ground. It's not bad, less than an hour for something that's, this beautiful and this decorative in the landscape.